Yo, what up, guys? This is your boy here, Judah Yuki, giving you another Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 episode review for you guys. This is going to be the review for episode 140. Before I begin, I'd like to apologize for this review coming out so late. I had a couple things to do here and there, and I was being kind of lazy about it, but I did want to get this review done, obviously, because this is the finale to the Zark duel and whatnot. We got Reiji versus Zark, and, I really wanted to be a part of that. But regardless, here we are, and we're going to talk about this. I'm a little bit sick, so if I sneeze or sniffle here and there, if my throat sounds kind of rough, it's because I'm sick, and I'm still doing this review. That's another reason why I haven't gotten to it, because I've been sick, but hey, I wanted to get this out. So yeah, let's begin. The episode starts off with Akaba Reiji. He takes the, Sawatar gives Reiji the pendulum, and then Reiji holds the pendulum up, and he's like, Yuya is the founder of Pendulum, and that means that he's still in there somewhere, and he believes in him and this and that. Then it's gonna be Reiji's turn, and before he draws his card, he says on that day that you pendulum summoned, that Yuya pendulum summoned. I think before that Reiji said something like, I've always, I guess, been the best, or I've always strived to be the best and to be the strongest and this and that, and he's mastered everything. And then Yuya came and created pendulum summoning, and then he made his own copies, and he pretty much admires Yuya for creating that new type of summoning, and it made him stronger as a duelist. And I really liked that little speech. I thought that was kind of nice, and how he does kind of look up to Yuya and anyone who starts something new, just like when Yusho started action dueling. When he started action dueling and entertainment style dueling, he was fascinated by anyone who kind of is innovative and starts something new, and it's the same thing for Yuya, since Yuya started Pendulum. But yeah, so he goes first. He draws. He starts off by summoning these two new DD monsters, which is DD Savant Schrodinger and CC Savant Dirac, and sets them in the scales, scale 2, scale 8. They have some really cool effects, really defensive effects, which we'll get to a little bit later. But he sets those two, and then he pendulum summons pretty much his entire hand, which is 4 monsters, 2 DDD Salvant Nicola, Night Howling, and I forgot what the other one was, the Cerberus one. I forgot the name of it, but it's a level 7, and it has a pretty cool effect. So we'll get to that. So what he does is he exceeds summon his 2 Nicolas to summon a rank 6. He summons DDD Executive Executive, pretty much the evolved form of Wave King or whatever. So it's Executive Wave King. I'm butchering the name. I forgot what the name was. And then what he does is he tunes, Night Howling with the Cerberus to synchro summon Executive Gus King Alexander, the evolved form of Alexander and whatnot. And then after that, the other DDD monster, the level 7 one, has an effect when sent to the graveyard, or no, during your main phase you can banish that and another DDD monster in your graveyard to fusion summons. So he fusion summons DDD Executive Flame King Genghis or whatever. So now he has these three new monsters, these 3 new evolved forms of his 3 original extra deck monsters, you could say, from all 3 of the summoning conditions. A little bit before that, we have Rayra, and he's talking to Ray, and he's telling Ray, come on, let's go. You can use my body as a vessel to revive and whatnot, because, Akabaleo didn't finish his plan to revive her. Instead, he went to go deal with Zark himself, so she doesn't have a full physical body as of yet, so she can't exactly go out and duel, so she needs a way to do it. So Rayra offers his own body as a vessel, so she could go out there and stop Zark. So she agrees, and that happens. So right, like I said, back to the duel with his 3 monsters. What Reiji does is Alexander has an ability where if you control 2 or more DDD monsters, his attack doubles. So he goes up to, I believe, 6,000 attack points. Then the other Xyz monster, the Wave one, he has an ability where, you can detach an Xyz material from him to negate a summoning from your opponent. So, because Zark at one point he was gonna return his Servant King Dragon Odd Eyes back to the extra deck so he could try to negate something Reiji was gonna do, but that didn't work. And then Flame King Genghis has has an ability where he could target two face-up cards your opponent controls and negate their effects. So he does that first. That's the first thing he does, I believe, and then he negates his Zark's two Pendulum monsters, Zero and Infinity. That way he can't regain life points and avoid taking damage. So he pretty much kind of instantly took care of that. And then after that, Reiji pretty much starts attacking with all his Xyz monsters, direct attacking Zark pretty much. And he does a massive amount of damage. I think he took him down to like 2,000 and something from like 6,000, or I forgot how much. I think or from 8,000. I don't remember how much Zark had, but he brought him down a lot. So he just took a lot of direct damage from that. So Reiji put in a lot of work in that one little turn there. It's Zark's turn, but before that, I think he starts to tell Reiji that, oh, you seem to think that my alter ego Yuya created Pendulum Summoning, but you're wrong, it was actually me who created it. And he goes a little bit kind of in depth about how the Pendulum was born. Pretty much when Rei defeated him and he separated into four beings, into four separate dimensions, that's how the Pendulum was born. And he says that the Pendulum was born through his revenge, and his revenge against Rei. And he was going to use this new form of summoning to defeat Rei. And that's kind of how Pendulum was born. A little bit confusing. He said it was the absolute existence that I found when I was divided. That swinging force is what allowed me to resurrect. So something like that. Basically saying he's the founder of Pendulum Summoning. It was created from his anger and for the purpose of his revenge and whatnot. So yeah. Moving on Zark's turn, he pretty much, I forgot exactly what he does. I think he activates, a trap card. When he takes 2,000 or more damage, he can special summon all his Servant Dragons. So he summons Supreme King Servant Dragon Odd Eyes, Dark Rebellion, Clearwing, and finally we got to see Star Venom. I wish he kind of had his solo moment like the others did, but hey, whatever. This duel has been long enough, I suppose. So he summons all four of them. They're all four on the field. So then he goes and he starts to attack. He attacks with Clearwing first, negates his own attack, tries to destroy one of his DDDs. I think he does effectively destroy one of Reiji's DDDs and tries to deal burn damage. But then Reiji activates his Pendulum Monster's effect, which is a good effect. It basically states that you can special summon, I think Schrodinger, you can special summon him in defense position to avoid taking effect damage, and then the other one has an effect where you could avoid taking battle damage by special summoning it in defense. So really good defensive effects. So like I said, he tried to burn Reiji with Clearwing, and destroyed one of them. And then after that, Dark Rebellion attacked, activated his broken effect to do massive battle damage, but he negated that battle damage. The next one to attack was Star Venom. I think he takes a destroyed DDD monster, so he takes Alexander and equips it onto himself, so that way he gains his attack. So he was at 56, and then he attacked with Star Venom on one of his DDD monsters, and he took and he was gonna take some battle damage, I believe, and Reiji avoided it because his monster has a monster effect as well that also avoids taking damage, and the other one has another monster effect where it avoids taking effect damage. So essentially twice per turn you can kind of negate effect / battle damage. So that kind of used up all his counters, and then Odd Eyes was the last one to attack, and he attacked, I think it was one of his defense position Pendulum monsters that he just summoned, and basically Odd Eyes' effect is when a Servant King Dragon monster attacks, it does piercing damage. So Odd Eyes does piercing damage, and then obviously the damage is doubled because of reaction force. So Reiji was about to take massive damage, or did take massive damage. So you see Reiji scared like he's actually about to lose right now. And then Reira comes in. He's like, Nissan, whatever. He takes 2,000 points of intrusion penalty, and And then there's this funny scene where we see Reiji's scarf wrapped around the log, and apparently the log or the scarf took the hit and it got ripped apart. And it's funny because it's like, there's been a meme sort of kind of with Reiji's scarf and how it's the source. Between me and my friends, we're like, oh, the scarf is the source of his power. Like, it's alive and it's the true like mastermind behind everything. And here we have the scarf just like taking the hit for Reiji and whatnot. So that was just kind of funny. I like that. I liked it a lot. I thought that was pretty cool. It turns out that the one that saved them was Tsuchikage, because before Tsuchikage was revived, because obviously everyone gets revived in this new dimension. So Tsuchikage helped Reira get to where they are, and then Reira, like I said, he intrudes and he saves Akawa Leo and Akawa Reiji from taking that damage. Reiji takes all the damage, his life points are at 0, so even he wasn't able to defeat Zark alone, but he did do a lot more damage, which was good, and got some new monsters, some new defensive monsters, and aggressive monsters, so that was good. I liked his performance. I thought it was pretty good. It was a little too short for me. I wish it was a much longer duel, at least a whole episode worth, but you know, it's pretty much what I expect at this point with Arc 5 and how they're doing things, so I just have to accept it. Moving on, now we have Reira. He's gonna fight, and he takes off his hat, and he says that I'm not Reira, I'm Rei, and I'm whatever. I'm gonna fight Zark, and he has long hair flowing and whatnot, so apparently he had long hair the whole time underneath that hat, which is kind of a really strange and random thing, but whatever, you know, he's there and he's doing this thing. So the way that he's going to defeat Zark is again with the 4 cards. So apparently, I don't know, he didn't say how he got the 4 cards because Leo had it. So maybe I guess the cards fell somewhere and they somehow found it. They didn't really explain how they got a hold of the 4 cards, but whatever. Either way, Reira activates the 4 cards, and flowers, and birds, and winds, and moons. They each have an effect that in order to activate it, you have to have a certain number of fusion monsters. I think End Moon is, you have to have a certain amount of fusion monsters, like 4 more in the graveyard. And flowers, I think, was you have to control a certain number of synchro monsters or something, and one of them is the Xyz monsters and whatnot. So all the monsters that the Gensika and the other Lancers used to fight against Zark, they're all still technically in the graveyard. So they kind of helped the requirements to activate. Seems kind of forced, but it kind of helped. They kind of made it kind of build up to this moment, which is, at least they were able to do that much. That way it doesn't make the other duels feel completely pointless, but still it's kind of forced either way. But yeah, so activates those cards, and basically what they do is, while you control a certain amount of fusion monsters, all fusion monsters your opponent controls become normal monsters. So Star Venom becomes a normal monster, and then one of the fusion part of Zark becomes completely erased. So that part gets shredded off, and it shows on the card. And then the other one removes the synchro part. Clear Wing becomes a normal monster. Dark Rebellion becomes a normal monster, and I think that was it. I don't think Odd Eyes becomes a normal monster. Just those 3. So now Zark is just a regular, normal monster. It's not Xyz, Fusion, Synchro, and Pendulum, I guess? But whatever. Zark becomes a normal monster. So yeah, you could see on the picture here how it looks. It's pretty interesting to see it as a normal monster. Their effects get negated too, so they become normal monsters and their effects get negated and whatnot. Yeah, so moving on. And then the cards do pretty much destroy all the monsters your opponent controls and deal 600 points of damage for each monster destroyed. So Zark is pretty pissed off, and he's like, damn you, and all that stuff. And then I think Reiji and Rei are like talking to Zark, and they're like saying, Yuya's still in you, you are Yuya, you are Zark, you are Yuya and Zark, and you're like a pendulum, and it's like swinging back and forth between good and evil, I guess. And then Zark is like, oh no, that's not true. My wish is for people to fight me and taste the real fear and whatnot. And then we have Rei talking. Rei was talking to Zark and saying some stuff about like how Pendulum was created and this and that, and like it wasn't created through revenge and this and that. It was a little bit weird to understand. I don't have the exact words in front of me right now, unfortunately, but just that's kind of more or less what was going on. And she was saying the Yuya's still inside you, and that's your good side, or something like that. And then we have Yuzu making an appearance and from inside of Rei, and she's like, I believe in Yuya. I believe in the Yuya that creates smiles and wants nothing but happiness and joy and this and that, and I believe in him. And you see Yuya inside of Zark's head struggling to maintain his composure, whatever. And Yuzu tells Yuya that, come on, go back to your old self. Let's go back to our hometown. Let's go back home together. I believe in you and all that stuff. And then it actually does work, and Yuya kind of comes back. He's still in that corrupt demon form, but his eyes go back to normal. Then he draws a card. He activates the quick play spell card Smile Universe. So it's the upgraded version of Smile World, pretty much. And its effect is pretty interesting. You can special summon all pendulum monsters that were destroyed. And he resummons Zark onto the field along with Odd Eyes, Supreme King Servant Dragon Odd Eyes. But their effects are negated, so they don't have their effects. And then on top of that, the monsters special summoned with the effects, like I said, become normal monsters, and then the opponent gains life points equal to their attack. So then Reira pretty much gained, I think, like over 6,000 life points. So he was like at 8,000 or something. And that's pretty much what it does. And I think they're not allowed to attack that turn either. And then we have this moment where we see kind of half of the face is with Yuya's eyes, the other half is with Zark's eyes, and we see kind of warping, kind of similar to how Merrick was in the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Where, the two sides of him were fighting for control and this and that. And then Zark goes on saying, oh, pendulum monsters are immortal. If they're destroyed, they will always revive again, blah, 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 this and that. I don't remember what he said right after that. But basically, since those monsters were summoned again, I guess Reira was able to activate the 4 cards again to once again destroy Zark. And Odd Eyes dealing the last 1,200 points of damage to finish off Zark. And we see him taking all that damage, all that pain, and he's slowly starting to be divided into 4 different pieces. Sorta, kinda, and then we see this darkness that's inside of him that comes out of him that looks like the demon form, and Rei pretty much says that I think Leo makes a point saying that, oh, now the 4 dimensions will divide again and all of this will repeat again. And Rei's like, no, Zark will not be revived again. I'm gonna seal him inside of myself and end this for good. So then the dark spirit gets absorbed by Reira, or Rei, however you want to put it. And then that's kind of how it ends there. And then Yuya's kind of just in this like white space or whatever with his shirt off for whatever random reason. Yuzu's shirt was off too, and for some reason they were naked, and I don't know. That's just an aesthetic choice they wanted to add. It wasn't really necessary, but anyway, he's there. He's like, Reira, and then the episode ends, blah, blah, blah. So the next episode is going to be about the world is back to normal. Everybody's kind of, not everybody, but things are back to normal. All the dimensions were divided into 4, and Yuya's back, and then Reiji's throwing another Friendship Cup tournament. No, not a Friendship Cup, another Junior Youth tournament, and he invites Sawatari, Gongensaka, and Yuya to join. And apparently Reiji has something in mind, and that's pretty much the episode. Things are supposedly back to normal, so we'll see if this is real or not, or we'll see what's going to happen. But yeah, that's the episode review for you guys. Interesting episode. The episode was really fast-paced, a little too fast-paced for my personal taste. You could tell that they were kind of just rushing, hoping to get everything out the way. This whole thing in this episode could have been 2 episodes. The first part of the episode could have been all Reiji versus Zark. Just take your time with that. Then the second part at the end of this episode could have been where Rei and Reira comes in, and then in the next part would continue off with the duel, activating the 4 cards, destroying Zark, the conflict between Zark and Yuya, all that stuff could have been in the second part. And as well as the dimension, they could have added, because of that, they could add more time to showing the dimensions being split apart again, instead of that extremely rushed feeling that this episode had. It was really uncomfortable. But there's still 8 episodes left, so I'm assuming whatever they have left is very important that they really want to add in there, which is why they were trying to rush this. So I can only hope that whatever happens in these next 8 episodes is actually worth them rushing the final moment of the series, or at least if this is the final moment of the series, which I think it is in terms of like the final villain, but other people think, oh, there's still another fifth entity. I don't know. I don't think there's necessarily time. I mean, they already split apart. I don't see what's the point, but whatever. We'll see what happens. That's the review for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Overall, the finale was pretty okay. Could have been a lot better. A lot better in a lot of ways, but I felt like they did what they could. They did the best they could with the time that they had, and I know they were rushing things. It sucks because, you know, Arc 5 had the potential to be one of the best series, and because of how it ended and how it's not over yet, but because of the thing with Zark and everything, it didn't turn out well in my opinion. It wasn't that fascinating or that great. It was just kind of like, it was alright, but still, there's some good points here and there, some good moments and whatnot. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you guys. Thank you guys for everything. Gotcha! 揺れろ魂のペンドラム天空にかけ怒りの悪ペンドラム召喚来い俺のモンスターズたちあらら落ちことつく限りは二人のマラコオーダイスペンドラムドラゴン